All right. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to talk to you
Hi,
about
Gwen.
your voice.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. I'm going to ask you a few questions about Dr. Du Bois's 153rd birthday and all the happenings around his legacy in this last year. So, first, I'm going to ask you each to introduce yourselves and your relationship to Dr. William Edward Burkhart Du Bois. And I'm going to start with Jeffrey Peck Sr.
Yes, I'm Jeffrey Allen Peck. I am the youngest of four great grandchildren. My mother is his only grandchild, Yolande Du Bois Williams. My grandmother is his daughter.
All right. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again as well.
We must not have you in the Berkshires this year, but we're planning a big party for next year. And then Jeffrey Peck Jr.
Sure. So I'm Jeffrey Peck Jr., the great grandson of Dr. Du Bois.
All right. Nice to see you. We've
Nice
emailed.
to meet you.
And Chesapeake, you're, you have to unmute.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot to put my phone on mute. Hi, I'm Chasney Peck. I am the great granddaughter of Dr. Du Bois.
All right. So thank you all for being here and having this conversation. We're doing a hybrid presentation for his birthday just to keep safe around COVID. So it's nice to be able to connect with you over Zoom. 2020 has been a really phenomenal year in the honor of Du Bois's legacy and kind of carrying the torch forward that people over the last few decades have been working on in Berkshire County. So I know that you know that we renamed the school, the signs behind me, and we also succeeded in having the town of Great Barrington have the day in his honor. I'm just wondering, when you look back at 2020 and you think of the legacy of Dr. Du Bois, what's been on your mind this last year?
Yes, 2020 was a phenomenal year for Du Bois's legacy. When I look back at it, I think about my first visit to Great Barrington and having conversations with some committee members, and we talked about possibly having his name on the school. And I remember many of them saying this could be a 15 or 20-year process. And I thought, wow, that long. And they said, yeah, we just don't know if the mindset of the city or the town is changed enough for it to happen. And then I get a call, and next thing you know, I'm on a Zoom call with the school board, and next thing you know, they're approving it, and I'm like, wow, and I'm pinching myself. So uh, I I think it's just phenomenal. And then now hearing that his birthday is going to be recognized as a holiday in his hometown is a double pinch me. So I'm excited. I just don't know what to say.
All right. Thank you. And Chastanique, what are your thoughts about 2020 and Du Bois's legacy?
I just think 2020 has been like really crazy. I think there's been a lot going on, especially like with social equality is like a big thing now. I'm super happy about the school. I think that was my biggest thing this year. That Dad told me about was with the schools, because like I feel like, especially with everything that's been going on, it couldn't happen at like a better time. If that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. And this was really a beacon of hope for a lot of people.
It was.
Yeah, thank you. And Jeffrey?
yeah. So for me, 2020 kind of showed us, specifically in America, um, kind of the pitfalls of capitalism that Du Bois is mostly talking about in some of his earlier talks. And so we're kind of seeing some of these ideas coming from the far left, like universal basic income, being kind of rooted in some of his earlier, I guess, issues with what he called the American Negro was going to be going through. So he kind of was um, seeing the issues that we're going through right now, specifically for all Americans that are having problems not getting either stimulus care or funding from the government. So for me, 2020 was mostly a reminder that Du Bois was um, pretty much right about where the country was going to be going towards or going to if any kind of issues happen with capitalism specifically.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And that's, for me, that's what stood out a lot in 2020, even with all the voter suppression conversation and, DuBois being father of the Niagara movement. And that was one of the things they fought for. And we're still fighting the fight. I sometimes feel like he's standing over the town saying, like, keep going, keep going. But you're right. A lot of the things he predicted and tried to warn us against, we're still living them out. So I think it's really important that.
I think that was the biggest thing that I noticed this year is that I think we took so many things for granted, and this pandemic took a lot of things away from people, specifically a financial safety guard.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing a lot of Americans being more comfortable with far left ideas that we now consider socialist, but we're seeing specifically more Democratic candidates run as Democratic socialists. And so I like the fact that just like the town has accepted DuBois, even though he may have been considered a controversial or contentious figure in the day, we're now seeing America become more comfortable with far left ideals.
Yeah.
And so I'm liking the fact that, and then of course, we do have a pretty large political divide right now. But I am saying that I do like the fact that more Americans are becoming more comfortable with some of these ideas that were considered controversial in DuBois's day.
Yeah, controversial and radical, right? Yeah, I agree. So just a reminder, right, is listening to us, the committee has decided to hold up 4 of his values, and you're really highlighting economic justice, which is one of them. And then we also highlight racial equality, progressive education, and civil rights. And so thank you for highlighting them.
Yes, ma'am.
And we each touched on it, but just again, the sign behind me, I keep it on my virtual background because I'm so excited. And I'm lucky enough that my 8th grader my youngest is in 8th grade, so he gets to spend his final year at the DuBois Middle School. And even the COVID vaccine has been rolled out, and so across our state, everybody's talking about the DuBois School because it's one of the sites of the vaccine. So even though it's brand new, people are saying, I'm going to DuBois to get my vaccine. It just feels like it's living on in an amazing way. So that's really exciting for me because I served on the Department of Public Health's vaccine rollout. And when they picked DuBois as a site, I'm like, yes, they're saying this across the state, not just in our town. So for you, what's the significance of this being on the middle school? And Jeffrey Senior, you want to start us off again?
Yes. I think about conversations my mom and I had about him being an educator and really caring about African Americans being educated and learning not only how to do physical things, but mentally intelligent, intellect things. So when I see his name on the school, I think about his contributions, and I think about my grandmother also being a teacher at Dunbar High School in Baltimore. I think about my mom being a teacher at Xavier University in New Orleans, and now Chasanique is a teacher as well, and she's working towards getting her PhD so that she can teach at a Black university as well. So the bloodlines have definitely been impacted. We're doing our we're contributing as well as he did.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you. And Chasanique?
The significance of the school, I think I'm gonna, speak to, I kind of feel like I said earlier, with everything going on the way that it has been, I just believe that like names have meaning, and the names that we put on like public property is almost like a legacy that's going on. There's a lot of people that are very undeserving of a lot of those names. And being in Texas, I kind of get to see that more than anything. So I'm just super excited that his legacy somewhat gets to live on past that through these names and through being able to see it, especially with everything that, he stood for. He stood for education. So even now, like, I'm able to afford that, even be able to get my PhD. So I'm just super excited about it. And my grandma was super happy about it as well. So super appreciative of it.
Yeah, thank you. And Jeffrey?
Yeah, so for me, it more so comes to everything that the family's been saying. His name is the most important thing. That's the one thing you really can't take away from him. So the fact that we're able to put it on educational institution is a good reminder to kids that, just like I said earlier, despite his controversial past or any kinds of issues that the country has had with him, it's good to see that people are now embracing him.
Mhm.
So to have his name on the school and hopefully to have his name on other institutions and for it to be celebrated specifically through the South and other parts of America, that's kind of what I'm hoping the goal will be. But the school is the perfect starting off point because right now, the country, we're not really uplifting older Black voices specifically because America is uncomfortable with the past.
Mhm.
And them renaming the school is a great indication of where we're going forward. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to see where else we're going to take his name, specifically how else we can expand even beyond American borders. I mean, I know he's pretty important, specific throughout the entire world. I know Ghana, of course, uplifts him primarily, but I'm pretty excited to see if we can put him on the same level as MLK or Malcolm X or any other Black voices yet.
That's a beautiful vision because he really has been that impactful. So thank you. And then moving into that, we just had the select board this year vote to have February 25th recognized as a holiday for town on February. And what was really exciting is I just got off the phone with the middle school principal, and they're doing a whole day in his honor on his birthday, and that will become a tradition in the school. So what do you think about that? Like having an actual holiday? What do you all think about that new development?
Well, in my travels there, the main conversation has always been about his legacy.
Mhm.
As Jeff is wearing that shirt. And, when I think about legacy, it's not to forget someone that has contributed highly to not only America, but to the world as far as peace, as far as education, as far as equalities, civil rights. And, we see that contribution, and you worry that as time goes on, generations may forget about DuBois. And I think having a holiday keeps the spotlight on him. It will not allow not only his hometown but the world to forget him. And I'm hoping, like Jeff said, that we see that expand not only from his town but maybe to the country, maybe to different nations that he affected. And
Mhm.
that's kind of my vision going forward.
Yeah, thank you. Fascinating.
I definitely feel the same way as my dad. I definitely want to see his legacy live on and his memory kept alive.
Yeah. Yeah, we're hoping that we're the first of many to have a Du Bois Day. Maybe we'll just really push for it to be a national holiday. But we have our town, state, national. Jeffrey, what are you thinking?
Yeah, pretty much echoing everyone else's thoughts. The holiday, I hope, other than it just being a town thing, I hope the country also considers it a national holiday because I really feel like the voice is not considered in the exact same limelight as our other civil rights activists and authors and writers and thinkers and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm really hoping that hopefully within the next few decades. I mean, because I can only speak from personal experience, specifically in the South. No one particularly knows about Du Bois.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that starting a holiday for him will pretty much expand out to the entire United States and make something of a more national conscious awareness of his name.
Yeah. I think more and more it's sneaking into popular culture. I mean, it was in a Spike Lee movie, recently.
I'm seeing it more in shows and movies as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But you really can't pick up an academic book of almost any kind. It doesn't have a Du Bois quote or Du Bois reference, for his work in sociology and all the other spaces he's been in. Well, I'm really excited to have the opportunity to talk to you and to talk across generations to the family, because that really, to me, embodies what legacy is about. And I appreciate you all being connected with Great Barrington and holding a vision for what we can all create around Dr. Du Bois. And it doesn't have to be a couple decades. Like Jeff Sr. said, we can accelerate it. There's a lot of great buzz. Last year, people came from all over the Virgin Islands and all over to honor him in Great Barrington. So I think there's a real buzz and effort in a network. So I'm really excited about that.
Grant, I think that maybe the one thing that could excel it is like a motion picture, which I spoke about a
Yeah.
couple of years back when I was there. I told some of the townspeople that if someone would spend the money, someone big would put the characters together and come up with a plot and a story of his life and legacy, kind of like what we've seen with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali. People will, a vast audience of people will get to see what he's accomplished and learn more about him. And then that could spark a beginning of people being interested, because that's all you, if you just make people interested in who is this man we're talking about, W.B. Du Bois, maybe then it would take off more so, because I know I was extremely touched by the motion pictures that I've seen with Malcolm X. I learned more about him than I'd initially known. And Martin Luther King, I knew a lot about him previously, but it just kind of solidified, what we'd heard as far as his peaceful marches and his vision and his dream for America going forward.
I think that's a really good idea, and I'm thanking you for planting the seed, because now everybody watching just heard that alongside us. So hopefully someone can pick it up. We do have a Berkshire Film Company, but maybe someone else will pick that up and we can make it happen, because I think you're right. Getting it into every household is going to be really important. So I think that's it. Any last words from each of you for our conversation today? For the audience watching us, I think.
My last words are that I really thank everyone on the committee, the DuBois committee, all those outside the committee that put in time and effort, everything that I've seen when I come into town, from the signs, recognizing that place's birthplace, which I know he loved so much, and he said many times that he cared a lot about where he came from. Everybody involved, the school committee people that were open-minded enough to maybe decide that they do something different.
Yeah.
And then to all those who opposed it, I hope in my heart that you will educate yourself and learn that he cared a lot about America, and he put a lot of time in. He started very young with interest in changing things in America, and up until he gave his last breath, he was writing, he was working at change worldwide. And that's not something that many can say they have done, not many at all, actually. So I just thank everybody. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you.
Thank
Jessica?
you. I just want to say I appreciate everything that you guys, everybody has, contributed to making this all happen for him and keeping his legacy living for a long time. And, just thank you guys for taking the time out to even consider him and put him in the position that he's in right now. And hopefully in the future, we can see that, grow and be more than what it is even now. So thanks again.
Thank you. And Jeffrey?
Sure, I'd like to just say thank you for everyone that's involved in keeping his legacy alive. I do want to say for a final comment that if he were alive today and he were to see where we were as a country, other than just saying Black Lives Matter, I think he would also encourage people not to be politically complacent. Because right now, I think I can only speak as a Black Democrat. We're pretty comfortable with where we're sitting right now, politically speaking. And I feel like he would probably encourage us continue nonviolent protests, continue being aware of police brutality, continue being aware of what we need in this country. I mean, the NAACP was founded on nonviolent protests to ensure equal rights for all Americans, not just Black Americans. So that's pretty much my final comment. Just other than just keeping his legacy alive, we also want to keep his ideals alive. I don't want to just have this be about, oh well, we have DuBois, we put his name on the building, that's it, it's all done, good job guys, clap it up. I want to really drive home that it's not just the name, it's really trying to make sure we keep everything alive about his legacy, and that includes, really making sure we continue forward with any kind of political activism. So that's pretty much the last comment.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that, keeping the values that we're upholding alive and active. Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you all.